Well, welcome to phase two. Here's your phase two folder. Here we go. As you open it up, what you're going to find is some housekeeping items on the inside. What's on the inside is a class schedule. It lists all the class times. We have Monday at 5:30, evening classes, Tuesday at 6:15, Wednesday at 6:30, Thursday at 5:45 p.m., and then in the morning we have Tuesday and Thursday at 11:30. So those are our class times. And all of our numbers are still down here like they were. Now, also in phase two, what we ask you to do is to, if you're a Facebook person, to go out to our Milestone Phase 2 support page and request access to that page as well. And in that way, you can ask some Phase 2 questions and support and it put out some success stories, et cetera, as well. So you get some support that way, just like that on the Phase 1 page. Also for the class times, now that we're having phone classes instead of in-person classes, here is a list of the phone classes with the phone number to call in and the meeting ID numbers to punch in as far as your meeting IDs. So same as phase one. Also, what we have in these housekeeping is a new weekly summary form. This is your phase two weekly summary form. And on the column here that used to in phase one say in the box, now what it says is lean proteins and whole grains. So let's say that you had one piece of chicken that week. You would have one entree for lunch and one lean protein or chicken for dinner that night. So you would mark it track your proteins in that column there. And eventually, as you get to your goal weight, so your grains, you get tracked over there. So there you go. That's your summary, your week two weekly summary, phase two. And then also there is a status change form, so that as you change classes, we would fill this form out and give it to Margie or John, and they would move you in the computer system so that you would then be on our roster for their proper phase two class. So just let us know when you transition which class you're going to. Sometimes, like my Wednesday people or Tuesday people rather for phase one, sometimes they want to come to my class on Wednesday nights, but sometimes Tuesday is the very best night for them, so they'll transition to Joya's Tuesday evening class instead of my class. So whatever you want to do is fine with us. It's okay, but just let us know which class you're going to go to. And then in phase two, the class fees drop from 96 down to 82, and then we'll just charge that monthly. So that's how that form works. So there we go. So let's get started. So what you're going to find is that phase two is very similar, more similar than different than phase one. You still attend your weekly class call each week. You still keep detailed records. You still make your midweek check-in or text or email or call each week. Let's see. And those are for in-clinic classes. But you're still going to track you're going to journal. You're going to journal. Even journaling right now is even more critical than it was in phase one. Because now as you start to transition to the lean proteins, we need to know, okay, I had grilled chicken, 6 ounces. We're going to want to know exactly what you had. I had a salad with grilled chicken on top of it. A little more detail for your journaling. So very much very similar to phase one. Also, you still rely on your shakes, entrees, and fruits and vegetables for continued weight loss. And we still want you to do about at least 28 shakes. I'll show you that in a little bit. Also, the goal of phase two is to continue to lose the most weight. To be successful, you will need to transition to phase two very, very slowly. The very first week, we're going to say, we're going to keep the same routine as phase one, and we're going to swap out 2 entrees for 2 proteins. So maybe one night, one dinner this week, you pull out an entree. So instead of having an entree, you have a piece of chicken, and another night, instead of having an entree, you have a piece of fish. The rest of the week is still phase one. Okay, so very, very slow. Weeks 1 and 2, 2 proteins. Rest of the time, phase one. Weeks 3 and 4, maybe 2 chicken, 2 fish. The rest of the week is all phase one. So it's going to be a very, very slow transition. So weeks 1 and 2, 1 to 2 proteins per week. Weeks 2 and 3 and 4, say 3 and 4 proteins per week. A very slow, steady transition. In order for you to be successful, that transition needs to be very, very slow. If all of a sudden you jumped into phase two and you had 18 new foods, you had yogurt and cottage cheese and chicken and fish and you had some rice, and then the scale didn't go down and the scale maybe went up a pound, You go, well, what did I do wrong, Chuck? What did I do wrong? That's, well, I have no idea what you did wrong because you did 18 new things. So let's back up. Let's start slow. Just have 1 to 2 proteins the first week. Make sure the scale goes down. Do it again. Make sure the scale goes down. Have 3 to 4 the next week. Make sure the scale goes down. Do it again. Make sure the scale goes down. If you have an egg white omelet the week after that, make sure the scale goes down. So it's going to be very, very slow transition, making sure the scale is going down, down, down at each step of the way. When adding different lean proteins, be sure to consult with your educator on proper portion sizes and techniques. Just consult with them. Avoid deli meats and processed lunch meats. Always practice more is better with shakes, fruits, and vegetables. And always anchor your plate. I know you can't see this very well, but anchor your plate. There's your plate with put your lean protein up here. There's your little piece of fish, little eyeball there. And then with vegetable. So always anchor your plate with lots of vegetables. That's your key to success. I know when I started the program, I started phase 2, and they told me I was going to have like 5 ounces of chicken. I laughed, and I said, I'll need 3 times that. But you know what? Once I learned how to fill my plate with vegetables, that was just right. Okay. Be sure to track all your lean proteins in your journal. Be very, very detailed oriented. I had so many ounces of chicken, prepared a certain way. Just kind of be very, very detailed with your journaling. And be sure to track in your summary sheet, be sure to track your proteins accordingly in the right column. Very good. And then over here we have our calorie chart, same as before. You've seen this before. In phase 1, you're living down here in this part of the world with all your mostly fruits and vegetables, shakes and entrees. We're going to add in some white fish, some shellfish, and some egg whites, and some white chicken and white turkey. That's all we're going to do. We're going to add all into your phase 1 box. Okay. And then another sideways chart, but I can pull it up right here. We want you to go very, very slow. So in phase 1, your phase 1 box is shakes, entrees, fruits and vegetables, water PA, and nothing else. That's your phase 1 box, right? So go into phase 2, shakes, entrees, fruits and vegetables, water PA, and nothing else, except those 1 to 2 proteins we're going to start with. Okay, very, very slow. So phase 1 plus 2 proteins. We can like take an entree out, add a protein. Take another entree out, add a protein. That's your phase 2 box. Slow, slow, slow. Eventually, as you go, as you get more weeks in, eventually you're going less on the entrees and more on the proteins. So you're relying on the proteins, but you know what? Entrees are still good for a quick fast food meal or a quick lunch at the office. Lunches at the office are easy. Just heat it up, add your vegetable to it, and you're done with lunch in 15 minutes. You got a good half hour to go out for a nice walk on a nice day. So very convenient. Okay. Eventually, you get to the point where you're at your goal weight. So now you're relying mostly on proteins. Just so lots of vegetables and fruit, shakes and proteins, some water PA, pretty much nothing else. Except now, once you're at your goal weight, we're going to start to introduce some whole grains and start to cut down some of the shakes. And we'll work with you on that in great detail when you get to that point in the program. Meanwhile, we're going to just be following along right here. Now, a trick question. If you're in phase 1, you're doing 4 shakes a day, that's 28 shakes a week. In phase 2, we want you to have 28 shakes, kind of like 28 shakes all the way down the line. Now, if someone was in week 3 of the program in phase 2, and they were to submit numbers to me that look like 11 shakes and 3 entrees, 11 proteins, that's a formula for failure. Someone in week 3 of phase 2 only doing 11 shakes and 3 entrees, other foods are getting in there. They have gone off the deep end. They're doing other things besides what we ask them to do, and the scale is not going to cooperate. So we want you to keep records, and we want you to keep up with the 20. If you have weight to lose, 28 shakes. If you have weight to lose. So a more realistic number would be week 8, 28 shakes, 7 entrees, 7 proteins, 35 or more fruits and vegetables. So keep those shakes and vegetables going, and don't slack off. Because the goal of phase 2 is to continue to lose the most weight. Okay. The next page has some frequently asked questions on protein. How much protein do you need? You can read that at your leisure. Then we have a protein chart over here on different proteins. I'll hold it up sideways or proper for you. Chicken breast, for example, these are the best sources of protein. And the ones with the stars are the ones that are the best. And they're categorized by meats, by fish, and by dairy. So chicken breast, 4 ounces of chicken breast would represent 184 calories, 36 grams of protein, and would be 78% protein by calories. So the 78% of the calories would be protein and 20% fat. So that's very, very good when it comes to meats. So chicken breast, turkey breast, canned tuna is amazing. Canned tuna is 88% protein. So 5 ounces of drained of tuna would be 5 ounces, 160 calories, and would be 35 grams of protein. That's an awesome source of protein. I'm going to have a tuna salad when I finish this presentation, or tuna sandwich. Shrimp. Shrimp's amazing. Tilapia is amazing. Scallop, sea bass, halibut. All those are super. They're all in the high 70s for protein percentages. So those you want the most bang for your buck. So the goal of phase 2 to continue to lose the most weight is to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to calories. Even though salmon, we got salmon on here. I love salmon. I have salmon once a week, but salmon is basically half fat. So if I were to have salmon every single day, I would gain weight because it's so high in fat. But you know what? Nice piece of salmon once a week, something to look forward to, is perfectly fine. So just be aware. And egg whites are amazing. They're 91% protein, egg whites. Whole eggs, by the way, are like 35%. So here's a whole eggs. A whole egg is 35% protein. So all the fat of the egg is in the yolk. So pull the yolk out, and it's all protein left behind. Down here below are just some basic information. I guess all the whitefish are really good, so I may have said that already. Tilapia, scallop, sea bass, halibut, it's all good. Cod's all good. Egg white's good. A Greek yogurt is very, very good. But make sure you're getting a Greek yogurt that has no sugar added. Yogurt is going to have natural lactose sugar, but read the ingredients. Look for added sugar. You want about twice as much protein as sugar. So I turn it around, I might say, 15 grams of protein and 7 grams of sugar. That's okay. But if it says 26 grams of sugar and 4 grams of protein, run. Some information down here, like black beans are pretty good if you're like vegetarian. They're 25% protein and 75% carbs. And edamame is like 1/3 protein, 1/3 carbs, 1/3 fat. Tofu, by the way, is half protein, half fat. These are here for your information. They're not necessarily considered lean proteins, but they're down here for information. Even milk, non-fat milk, a glass of it's only 37% protein. The rest is carbs. Things like peanut butter. Peanut butter is 72% fat, 17% protein. A lot of people think that peanut butter is a protein, but it's not. Peanut butter is a fat. So are almonds. Almonds are only 14% protein and 74% fat. So anytime you see someone say, "Oh, add some almonds for protein," that's wrong. Almonds for fat. So just look at broccoli. Broccoli is 39% protein. We never call broccoli a protein, so why would we call almonds or peanut butter a protein when actually broccoli has 3 times more protein than almonds do? So interesting here. So use this for information. Okay, good. Here's just some chart, kind of shows you. I guess it ranks all the different proteins by the amount of protein per calorie. So you can have 18 ounces of egg whites. You can have 10 ounces of shrimp, 9 ounces of canned tuna, 10 ounces of scallops, or you could have 12 ounces of lower lean ground beef at 450 calories to get 60 grams of protein versus egg whites or canned tuna in the 200 range. So it just kind of ranks them by their protein power. We have a simplified little portion guide. 4 to 6 ounces of canned tuna would be 120 to 180 calories. Raw salmon, 4 to 6 ounces, would be 240 to 360. Uncooked whitefish might be 6 to 8 ounces, 150 to 200. So just gives some good information here. Is baked with fish, meat, beans, dairy, eggs. In an egg category, a half to 3/4 of a cup, 46 ounces of egg whites, is only 60 to 90 calories, whereas 2 whole eggs are 160. So you can have a 3/4 of a cup of egg whites for 90 calories versus 2 whole eggs at 160 calories. I tend to mix it up. What I'll do is I'll take, when I make an omelet at home, I'll take 1 whole egg and then I'll add in 3 egg whites, and I'll make an omelet that way. So that way I get a little more color and more flavor. Portion sizes, like a fist is a cup, but deck of cards. Looking at a piece of chicken, we want to think deck of cards, deck of cards. Now, as I said earlier, when my educator showed me this chart, like 12 years ago, 13 years ago, and she goes, Chuck, here's your piece of chicken, I laughed. I said, I'll need 3 of those. But in reality, because I filled my plate with 1 piece of protein up here, and I put vegetable there, this 1 piece of chicken right there filled me up. Actually, when I sliced it, a real thin slice of chicken, bite of vegetable, slice of chicken, bite of vegetable. By the time I sliced it, I kept getting little slivers off this, and by the time I got halfway done, I was pretty full, really, and my vegetables were gone. So if you're going to be successful long term, this is the way you're going to eat for life. Lots of vegetables and small amounts of protein. Our Western culture has just done this the opposite. I ordered some chicken tenders at Cracker Barrel during my mom's funeral, I guess about a year ago. And I got a platter, a monster platter with 6 big, huge tenders on there. I ordered a side of broccoli, and I got a little thing of broccoli about that big. So our American culture has gone overboard on the meat, on the portion sizes of the meats. So we want to do that just the opposite. Our economists are still the same. And then transitioning from phase 1 to phase 2, what we're going to do is, on grains rather, just avoid the grains. Avoid restaurant breads, avoid crackers and chips. They're so calorie dense. They're 120, 130, 140 calories per ounce. You can have for one slice of bread, you go to the grocery store, buy a loaf of bread, the Brownsberry 7-grain bread, whole wheat bread or whole grain bread, looks healthy. It's 140 calories per slice. A 7-ounce baked potato has the same number of calories. So what's going to fill you up more, a single slice of bread or a 7-ounce baked potato? I have no idea why the calories are that high in a piece of bread, but they are. So grains, it's not that whole grains are bad for you, it's just that they don't provide you the volume and the bulk that fruits and vegetables do. So when you're adding a whole grain to your routine, all you're really doing is adding calories to your day without necessarily adding any fullness to your day. So transitioning to grains is very, very tricky. It took me about 3 or 4 attempts before I was successful. I was at my goal weight maintaining nicely, and I would start to introduce grains, and the scale would go up, and then I would stop. Then I would try it again, go up, and I'd stop. Finally, after about the 3rd or 4th time, I finally learned how to do it properly. We'll work with you on that in phase 2. Just work with your educator. Expected weight loss in phase 2 is the same it is in phase 1. There's our weight loss. There's our crustless pumpkin pie recipe, which is famous, and then our milestone soup recipe, and some tips on how to eat in restaurants. So thank you for joining me on our phase 2 transition video. Can you see my face in there? I guess not. It didn't work very well. But there you go. So thank you very much, and God bless. Thank you. Bye.